Okay, so we have Robyn Vintiner here today, and she is going to talk to us about how she's found enjoyment in marketing her business using speaking. And she's had kind of a very interesting journey. She's got a lot to share with us, so I'll turn the microphone over to you, Robyn.
Thanks, Cindy. Yes, originally my basic training has been in the physical with physiotherapy and acupuncture, and I realised along the way that people actually come with some other emotional, spiritual, psychological sort of stuff that prevents some healing, and so transferred into life coaching. And also when my husband died, I went into a period of quite deep depression, and the help that I got with coaching and with some of the other things that people helped me with along the way turned me around as well to make the decision, yes, I want to work with people in a different way. I still do physiotherapy and acupuncture, but just to help people understand in a more counselling type of way, I guess, that I now have the skills to do with people. And as far as speaking goes, I had a dream as a child I used to look at speakers and think, wow, I'd love to be able to inspire or influence people, but I could never do that. And part of that was because of the way I'd been brought up. In my day, as young women, it wasn't appropriate for us to put ourselves out there. It was to keep your head down, get a good job and maybe a degree. And I know it's probably reasonably early days for women to get degrees and things. So putting myself out there was pretty scary. But the universe transpires against us, and it chose for me to get into teaching, and that, of course, is speaking to a fairly set topics. And I did 15 years of acupuncture, so I really got comfortable with that material. But when it comes to actually marketing and putting yourself out there, it's quite a different story altogether.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, and I went on a retreat where we were discussing getting on a stage and speaking, and all these other people had been to National Speakers Association, and they were all full of confidence. And when it came to my turn to talk, I said, well, I'm not ready to get onto a stage. And so they told me the way they saw it, which was completely different, and absolutely blew my mind apart to think that anybody else would think that I could do it. And that was when I first learnt about the fact that you start by believing in somebody else's belief in you. So what else where are we up to here?
Well,
what else?
I can see how important it is to have the support of others. Once you had that support or that encouragement from people that kind of validated, yes, you have a lot to offer. How did your speaking progress from there?
So I had some training, and one of those is going to Toastmasters, which I still attend on a weekly basis, and that gives me the opportunity to learn all the skills around speaking, and also you get really helpful feedback as to how you can improve and not say lots of ums and ahs like I have already done today, but it's a very supportive environment, and it didn't necessarily have to be Toastmasters, but it's just that everybody's there with the same aim in mind to be able to speak better, and they're all learning. We're stressed that we're all learning. And yeah.
So how did you take it from Toastmasters out in the world and use it for your business?
So I had got the message from any of the coaching stuff that I had done is that to do the best marketing that you can get for a coach is to do some speaking. And so I started just with little groups that need people on a regular basis, like non-profit organisations or service groups. And although I knew they weren't actually my niche, they were more just an opportunity to practice, really. Mm-hmm. And so I chose a subject that I really felt passionate about, which is stress, because I felt that actually relates to everybody, even if we all respond to it differently and need my niche coaching in a different way. It's stress often that is the underlying basis. So I went out there, and after I'd learnt to do it 2 or 3 times, I found that I was actually enjoying that interaction with my audience, because I love working with people. And if you stopped feeling like I'm up here at the front and I've got to be the one that everybody's looking to, instead of feeling that, I started to just really interact with them, and that you just bounce off them, and it just was magic, really. Because my niche has become, it's taken me a while to work out what it is, but now I'm realizing that a lot of it is to do with my history, my own history of not being able to speak out, not feeling supported, not being able to be seen and heard the way I wanted to be. And so when that happens, you feel, or you can feel, frustrated, and then that can come out as angry or emotional outbursts. So those are the sort of people I'm helping now. I've been helping for quite some time to really understand why it is that they're angry, and then ways how can they help themselves be more calm and not react to some of those button pushing that goes on.
Is there a technique or anything that you use to help with those angry outbursts or the anxiety that sometimes people feel when they're getting ready to speak?
Well, one of the things that has really helped me is meridian tapping, or emotional freedom technique, EFT, as people may know it. And that can be used for all things across the board, emotional and psychological dramas that are going on for people. But performance anxiety it's been very helpful for a lot of people to use that to tap on their bodies and release the stress levels in their body, because that's really all that performance anxiety is. It's just a form of stress. And so if people are really interested in trying that, there are lots of YouTube clips that you can go on, just heaps and heaps of them, and teach yourself. And then if you feel like, I'd really like to speak to somebody who can personalize this for me, then there are lots of therapists who are out there who do it as well. It's something I can even do over Skype. It's very easy.
Okay. Well, you've shared so much with us today, Robyn, and I really thank you. You've talked about from starting with a subject that you're passionate, well, I guess very beginning, if you're feeling anxious, to getting the support and the validation from other people who see your potential, even if you can't see it yourself. You talked about being passionate about your subject. You talked about getting some support in a Toastmasters group. You've talked about performance anxiety and a technique of EFT to relieve that. Is there any one of those, or is there anything additional that you would like to share with the listeners who may be hesitant to get out there and start speaking? Is there like one most important piece of information or advice that you would give them?
I think if you really want it, you will move past those barriers. I don't know whether any of your listeners have heard the song Brave by Sarah Bareilles. And at the end of the song, she says, we build our own cages and only we can unlock the door. And so I think that if you really want to do it, you'll find ways to do it. Like, as I say, with the tapping, doing regular meditation so that you are in a calmer place to start off with. Those are definitely underlying basic sort of things that can be done.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say thank you very much, Robyn. I've really enjoyed talking with you, and I appreciate you coming on and sharing all of this information with you. I will get all of the links for Robyn, and I know that if you want to reach out for her, I'll post an email address or a link to her website. She has something special for people if they would like to hear from her on a regular basis, and I'll post that later on when we upload the video. Thank you very much. I'm going to turn the pause.
Thanks, Cindy.